to do justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly with you, God.
I feel privileged and I thank God for this opportunity to be here with you. I must say it's impressive what CANOPI is doing, because it's something I felt for a long time has been missing in this country. What CARE is doing, what CANOPI is doing. I was a born Christian, born Methodist, come from a strong Methodist family. And I have not been very comfortable about the church and its role in society. Because every time, or most times, I attend church services and I share the views of Andrew and Dr. Dion to some extent, but Andrew particularly, when he says that the church has not been involved. It has been on the sidelines. Issues of corruption and poverty are hardly discussed. So I feel most pastors, most reverends speak to the converted. They have learned about the Bible in Sunday school, in youth fellowship, the church services, and they keep repeating it, but not making it relevant or related to the society we live in, on issues of corruption, poverty, and a whole range of problems. It's rare. It's rare in the Malaysian church to speak up. Where have you heard the churches coming together? Very rarely. The CCM does a remarkable role, but that's quite recently. There's this majlis of all non-Muslim groups. They come out strongly, even more strongly than the church. I sometimes wonder why the church bureaucracy, the bishops and the deacons and the priests and the pastors, why they don't make themselves more pertinent. Is the church too quiet because it's scared? Do we just want to be comfortable Christians? Most Christians in Malaysia at least are of the upper middle income groups. Maybe even some lower middle income, but you don't have too many poor Christians. So the majority are comfortable and therefore complacent, and I don't think really relate the Bible to the world outside. And my first question is for us to think about it. Why is this so? I think Andrew raised the same point. Why is this so? We need to study it. Now, impact of corruption. You see what happened when I got your notice, I had this whole range of topics and I prepared for the whole range of topics. So I came in this morning and told George, I said, look, I see others have been given different topics and I've been given corruption, and so maybe take off some of the other things. Now we must recognize that corruption is a scourge. All that we have built up over the last 50 years can come literally to naught if we allow corruption to get into our whole system and our soul. It's like white ants. You have a nice building, but they're gnawing day and night at the very foundations. And sometime or other you find a tree collapse. A building collapses because of corruption. And the poor suffer most. Why? Because this is not being presented too much, particularly government doesn't talk about it. But there is a strong correlation between corruption and inflation. And when the price of goods and services go up, incomes don't go up, or maybe commodity prices even go down, productivity amongst the poor hardly goes up because they don't have the means to increase productivity, because their education is low, because their understanding of issues is dismal, no financial resources, so they get hit more than others in terms of price inflation. When corruption increases, government also, or politicians I'll say, politicians in power tend to use the resources for projects that can generate corruption. So they will want to go for mega projects. They will want to go for negotiated tenders. They will want to choose people who may not be able to perform. And so the projects get more expensive. The bigger the projects, the greater the opportunity. When in fact, the allocation of resources should be focused on the poor. How do you provide human basic needs? Water, like Dr. Dion was mentioning. The issues of poverty, basic needs, food, shelter, clothing, water, light, energy, to help the very poor survive. How many people here have been hungry for days on end? Anyone? Nobody therefore knows the grinding pain of starvation, even for a few days. How many were here during the Japanese regime? No one? No one? You were Japanese regime? Now, I lived through the Japanese regime, so you can see how old I am now. And we didn't starve, but we went hungry for some days on end. And I can tell you, it's a bitter experience. But this is in fact the fate of many people. 1 billion out of 7 billion is a lot. They live even below the poverty line. And how much does the church think of them? Occasionally we go and give out some charity here and there, give some old clothes, old shoes, have feeding once in a way. In some places they do it more regularly. But most churches, I always feel that they do it to assuage their conscience, rather than get involved. If you can't get involved in day-to-day help for the poor, at least be involved in advocacy, so that you manage to influence policy that could help alleviate poverty. Now, corruption, and I was chairman of one panel on the Malaysian MACC, the Anti-Corruption Commission. After 2 years, when I was asked to carry on, I declined. Because I was not convinced in my conscience that there was sufficiently strong will to fight corruption. And corruption needs a very strong dose of medicine. You need to have a very powerful will, because the people who need to be caught are the people who have the political power and are those who enjoy the corruption benefits, the evil benefits of corruption. So they are very powerful vested groups. That doesn't mean we must give up, because in the end, you and I are responsible for that corruption. Why? Because we tolerate it. Why? Because we don't speak up. Why? Because the church is quiet on it. Have you heard any bishops or priests make public statements on corruption? Alright, you say I make statements, they don't publish it. You can go on internet today. Why haven't we done it?
To do justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly with you, God. You have shown us the riches of your love.